To redeem all those points, apply.
I'm on the observation deck of the Empire State Building to demonstrate how much material Waste Management recycles. As North America's largest residential recycler, last year alone, Waste Management recycled 12.9 million tons. How much is that? Let's do the math. Carry the 6. It's enough to fill this building more than 27 times. With experience like that, we're bound to have a program that can help your business recycle. Talk to Waste Management or visit thinkgreen.com.
Learn the most advanced recruiting techniques. Land the most desirable talent. Launch your company towards massive success. This is the Higher Power Radio Show with Rick Girard.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Higher Power Radio Show. Today we're talking about two major changes that will impact your interviewing process in 2018. Salary history and what they call ban the box. I'm Rick Girard. I'm your host. And our mission of the Higher Power Radio Show is to discuss and deconstruct insights from top performing entrepreneurs and industry experts. Every week, we uncover tested tactical solutions to solve your company's most difficult hiring challenges. Today, our guest is Karen Banajov, the CEO and founder of KEB Business Consultants. Karen is an expert in human resources, especially with compliance. In 2007, she founded KEB Business Consultants. They serve small, medium-sized businesses across a variety of industries with their human resource, talent management, and benefits administration requirements. Karen, welcome to the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So two things I want to cover today. There's major legislation and changes in what can be asked in an interview starting in January of next year. One would be, the two major ones are salary history and the ban the box, right?
Yes.
So let's cover that. Let's jump into first my favorite, which is salary history, because everybody likes money, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right. So as of January, an employer can no longer ask a person's salary history, correct?
That is correct.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's correct.
let's talk about that a little bit. What does that mean for employers?
What it means is it's simple. On applications, they can no longer ask for what their current wages are or salary at their past or current employers.
Okay.
Even during an interview, they cannot ask, "What are you making?" It's very important that they're being hired based on the job, and you can offer them of what you would like to pay them.
Got it. So they cannot ask of any form of compensation or benefits at all?
No, none at all. None at all.
So what happens if, for example, a person comes in and they offer that up?
Well, some would say they are divulging that information on their own.
Sure.
However, it's important that they understand that they do not have to give that information. It's
Sure.
ideal not to get that information, even if they are saying it. Just kind of stop it right there.
Yeah.
Unless there's something you want to let them know that somewhere in writing that you do not ask. It's not required. If they still want to give it, that's up to them. But
okay.
Everybody's different.
Yeah. Now this also includes third-party recruiters and actually reference checking too, right?
Any company that deals with candidates, applicants, they have to be in compliant with the current laws.
Got it.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. So from what I've heard, and I haven't seen the laws themselves, but they're kind of poorly written, right?
Very.
So
Very.
So this is going to be an interesting thing.
Yes.
So to be safe here, should you be upfront about the fact that you just don't want to know their salary information?
Yes. And if ideally, it's also to have it on the application itself too. If they're going to fill out an application, letting them know that the company will not ask, nor are they going to inquire of the candidate's wage or salary information.
Got it.
During an interview.
What's the purpose of this law? Do you know?
They really want to. It's actually stemming from the Equal Pay Act.
Okay.
So the salary history is actually stemming from the Equal Pay Act. So they want to make sure that that candidate is being hired based on their qualifications, and the amount, the salary being offered to them is fair.
Yeah.
And also, that candidate or employee, upon reasonable request, can ask for a pay scale of that position or any other positions within the company.
Okay. So, so they can ask for a pay scale. You have to provide them a pay scale.
Yes.
So, what does that do, though? How does that equal out the equal? How does that equal out pay, right?
So it's again the pay, the salary, the wages that you're paying someone. It's based on similar work.
Got it.
Okay, not the exact. It's substantially similar work.
Got it.
And they want to see that it's not gender based. It's
So
based on the job itself.
It's meant to cut the wage gap
yes.
between genders.
Yes.
Okay. But doesn't that kind of come down to negotiation skills in a way?
No, not really.
Okay.
It's going to be based on what the company's can offer,
Mhm.
is what they're able to offer,
Sure.
based on that position, based on the qualifications, and that's why the pay scale comes into effect, because you want to let them know that, okay, if you have different stages within that position, what are the qualifications in that position?
Got it.
So all of it ties together: the salary history, what you're going to offer them, and what that position will pay.
Got it. Got it. But I mean, so if you give a gap, let's say I give a gap of between $100,000 and $120,000 a year, right? I'm setting expectations that the position basically pays $120,000 a year, in a way, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then, if I'm doing that, now I've got a scenario. I don't understand. I might have somebody that I'm going to make an offer to that says, okay, well, yeah, I'll accept the job for $100,000. And then I might have somebody else who comes in and says, well, I want the 120. So I guess that's where I'm a little confused on how that's going to actually.
This is where it's poorly written.
Yeah. How is that going to?
Well,
fix the wage gap?
The negotiations. Those are just negotiations.
Yeah.
So if someone's saying, "Look, I'll take the job for $100,000," but again, your pay scale and what you're really, what you can offer, maybe over time, can be up to $120,000.
Sure.
So someone maybe who's coming in with more experience will be getting that higher pay than that person that's coming in with less experience will be getting paid lower. So you just have to make sure that you're equal across the board.
Got it. Got
Okay.
it. So then you as the company, it's kind of put back on you to make sure that if you've got somebody with similar experience already within the company, that you match that offer that essentially that other person's making.
Yes, and
Okay.
and you want to make sure that you have it clearly written out what those expectations are and
Sure.
why that person's getting paid
Okay.
X amount of dollars and why the other person's getting paid
Got it.
whatever dollar amount that
Now
is.
this primarily has to do mostly with the salary, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't
Yes.
have anything to do with any of the other benefits that are negotiated and maybe equity in the company, anything to that
No,
effect.
this is strictly salary.
Okay.
Yes.
So they're not looking at total compensation.
No, and I mean when they talk about benefits, again, it's be fair.
Yeah.
Medical benefits. You don't want to
Yeah.
give one person, okay, I'm going to pay you 100. I'm going to pay this 100%, but then the other person, you're gonna have to
Yeah.
pay 20%.
And
whatever.
that's kind of standard. Everybody has the same option, right?
Yes.
So the interesting thing is we work with a lot of tech companies, and tech companies offer stock,
Yes.
right? But somebody who comes in earlier in the company is going to get more stock than. So this doesn't
No.
have anything to do with
No.
with the amount of stock.
No.
Okay.
And it's how everything is communicated
Sure.
to that individual who's accepted the job offer. Again, this is all conditional.
Yeah.
All conditional.
Got it. Okay. So let's give some examples to our listeners of interview questions you can ask that might be able to divulge, well, that would be helpful in divulging this without asking for what they're making, right?
That's
That's a tricky one, right?
that is very tricky. It is.
So-
It is very tricky.
So I've throughout when I when I interview people, I always ask either what are your minimum salary requirements, or what are your salary expectations for taking a role with us, that sort of thing.
Yes, and you know what? It's also important, the wording,
Sure.
how you word, because expectations might be expectations.
Sure.
It's not that that's what I'm going to be getting,
Yeah.
but requirements it might come off saying that this is what I'll be getting paid.
Got it.
So again, it's all how things can be portrayed.
Yeah.
The perception
Yeah.
of everything. So yes, you know, again, if the candidate divulges that information, yes, everyone has different opinions, and you have to side more on the be more cautious.
What you especially do with this being a new law, right? There's
Exactly.
nothing to back it up, and you don't want to be that person who's
So
who's setting the case law, right?
so staying away from that might be ideal for right now.
Yeah.
Just don't even ask those type of questions if you don't have to.
Well, you do need to have an idea of what somebody's making, because you can go through a full interview process with somebody, and effectively you're thinking, I'm going to pay this person $85K, and that person's really expecting, you know, $110K, and you've got a huge gap that, you know, as you go through this whole process, that you might have
From what I am gathering, again, based on these new laws that
Yeah.
haven't really taken effect, and
I
we're
know it's a
just
lot of
kinda-
speculation,
it's
right?
it's a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
So from how I'm considering this is that they really want to focus on the candidate's qualifications, and
Okay.
then you can take it to that next level, and not gear the interview or anything else based on just on financially.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. Well, in most cases, most companies tend to look for the right person as opposed to, and usually, in my experience, it's always been that the salary works itself out in the end. If somebody really wants somebody, and that person really wants to work for the company, it's usually a pretty easy transition.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes. So once they found the person, that right candidate, and they meet the qualifications and everything offer's been made, and salary is not there, then again you just negotiate and come up with the right number.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
We're talking to Karen Banajov, CEO and founder of KEB Business Consultants. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about the Ban the Box, which is kind of like Jack in the Box. I don't know. For some reason, I'm getting that image. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Higher Power with Rick Girard, giving you access to recruiting techniques that will help you hire key talent to build your company towards real success. Rick is a recruiting executive and entrepreneur who's been successfully recruiting in the aggressive Silicon Valley technology landscape for the past 2 decades. After a very successful stint at Apogee, he founded Stride Search in 2012. Based on a lean efficiency model, Stride has uniquely positioned itself as a leader in retained search for the most critical talent hires within a small organization. Whether you're a startup executive or recruiting professional, by listening to Higher Power with Rick Girard, you will walk away with skills to help you attract and hire great talent. Now back to Higher Power with Rick Girard.
Wow, there was a lag there, Paul. Welcome back to the Higher Power Radio Show. I'm your host, Rick Girard. And today our guest is Karen Banajov, the CEO and founder of KEB Business Consultants. So we just discussed, salary history and the laws around whether or not you can ask that in an interview process moving forward in 2018. Now we're going to explore Ban the Box. So basically, this is asking about criminal history, right?
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about Ban the Box. First off, what is Ban the Box? What does that mean?
You're taking that box away. You're banning that box that's on that application, asking them, do you have any convictions or
felonies?
Felonies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So let's talk a little bit about, and essentially you can't ask somebody in an interview at all about criminal history.
Nope.
See, this one I have a problem with. I mean, the salary history one is interesting to get around, and I understand why they're doing it, because I'm sure people have checked off the box and they just pass on people right away.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But isn't it in essence now forcing companies to essentially background check everybody?
It is forcing them. Yes.
Okay. Now, this is only applying for companies with 5 or more employees.
That is correct. 5 or more.
Okay. So
Pretty much.
more initiative to say small.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So walk me through this, what Ban the Box is and how it works.
Well, how it works is that obviously there's that you have the application. On the application, there's that box.
Yeah.
So you have to remove that box.
Okay.
Okay. Just cannot ask those questions.
So you can't go to Staples anymore and buy the job applications that have it on there.
No.
Okay.
And it's the same thing going back to any type of third-party agency, recruiting company, anybody that is going to be interviewing or just reviewing candidates, they have to be in compliance as well.
Okay.
As far as with criminal, not to have that component on the application or even ask that type of question. Do you have any convictions, or is there anything in your history that will affect you to
affect your job performance
yes.
here or ability to do the job? But you can't ask that for, like, in a roundabout way about, disability, being able to, like, if you have to lift a 100-pound box on a daily basis, you kind of have to ask that information, right?
Yes. So the difference between, obviously, for accommodations with disability and criminal is, one, you want to make sure that someone with a disability, there's not going to be any type of undue hardship.
Yeah.
So they would be able to accommodate as best as they can without putting too much financial strain on the company. As far as with a criminal background, even if there was something in their background check, it could have been already, it's been 10 years or more. It's no longer applicable to them working in the workforce. So that's why when you're doing the background check, it's very important to look at what is in the history.
So what we need to do is, first off, invest in background check companies.
Yes,
But
definitely.
so
Definitely.
what? I don't understand why, because you as the employer, it's your responsibility to protect your employees, right? And you may have somebody who has a felony in their past that, and of course, he hands me a card of a background check company. Thank you, Paul. It's your responsibility to make sure that you bring on the best people too, right? And so it seems to me there's a better way to do this.
Again, when the whole process behind the Ban the Box, is it, again, poorly written?
Yeah.
I don't think has been much thought process to this, except they are, in my opinion, are focused more on making sure that everybody has an opportunity to work, regardless of what history they have.
Sure. But wouldn't it make more sense to coach the people to be a little bit, okay, look at it, I've got a felony where I embezzled money from a company, but you have a warehouse job, which I won't even be around money. Can I want to be upfront and talk to you about it before, but I'm going to be the hardest worker you've ever had. I mean, that makes a little bit more sense about being upfront about it and putting the responsibility back on the person rather than on the company.
Okay, if they're divulging that information, again, we go with the same process. If they want to just talk about it, go right ahead, talk about it.
Yeah.
But have something saying that the company nor the person conducting the interview will not ask nor use that information as a basis
to decide
and
whether or not they're going to hire.
It's important to review your policies and procedures, and especially when it comes to your criminal, any type of criminal background check, making sure what are the disqualifying events or that will disqualify someone from the employment. Okay.
So this is also forcing you to put more regimented policy in place for your company. Yes. Okay. So there's some benefit you can get out of that with the company.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get to sit down and write more policies.
Fun. It's so fun.
I know, right?
Yes, it's very important. You need to review that. You have to make sure that whoever's conducting the interviews, they understand and convey that. Communications is key to all this. Regardless of the types of laws that are coming to place, communication is very key in how
Yeah.
it's being conveyed, because at the end of the day, if you don't have that in writing, then it's going to fall back on the company.
Okay, so run me through a scenario. I know that you have a handout that you give to your clients.
Yes.
That talks a little bit about it. So one of the scenarios that you have in there is that you've got Karen is interviewing for a job that's kind of offset from whatever whatever comes back in the background check.
Yes.
Now, are you basically, let's say, for example, it's a finance related, I mean, it's not a finance related job, but there's a criminal history on the finance side. All that person needs to do is answer phones. Can you still, I mean, I know you can't really pass on that person because of that, but you can't actually, you have to get to an offer stage before you can actually do anything, correct?
Yes, you have to give them the offer first.
Yeah,
Okay.
before you can do the background check.
Before you can, and in that offer, it doesn't, now again, the law doesn't really say anything about having it to do in writing. I think it's ideal to have that in writing and be very, very clear of what the process is going to be.
Sure.
We would like to offer you a job offer with such and such position, and then salary amount, and then this is all conditional based on background checks and the disqualifying. What are the disqualifying criterias?
Should be on the offer letter.
Yeah, so they have
Okay.
an idea. You don't want to be too specific, but but don't be too general either. So you want to let
Sure.
them know. It's based on anything that comes up that's based on the job position itself. So if it's something that, again, if they're in finance, let's just use that example of finance, and they have
Yeah.
something in their history about that.
Seems to me like that's
Embezzlement.
going to be the biggest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it is, you can disqualify some because they go hand in hand. It has to be in relation to that job position, that why you're not why you're not going to move forward with that job.
Did you ever see that movie Office Space?
Yes, I did.
So remember how they were siphoning off? So
Yes.
software engineers siphoning off small, like a fraction of pennies, right?
Yes.
And they're like, if they get busted and they're convicted. Now, here's a weird thing. I'm guessing if you're a software engineer and you did that and you got convicted of it, you could probably be a software engineer in another company, just as long as it's not dealing with finance, right?
Yes, you have
Or
to look at the job. Exactly.
yeah.
You have to look at the job position. What are the criterias? What will disqualify someone from not moving forward with that job?
Yeah.
It's very critical.
Okay.
Again, it's very hard to come up with, to have some sort of examples when this is so new.
Yeah, exactly. So to be safe, essentially, you're doing the interview. So you're taking somebody through an interview process. You're putting out an offer for them, pending background check. Then you have to run the background check. Now, let's say the background check comes back bad,
Yes.
right? What's the process then?
You have to notify them.
Okay.
Okay. Again, notify them in regards to if it's in regards to the background check, then you have to give them 5 days to respond.
So
Business
respond
days.
how? Like to say, hey, that's not right, or
Allow them 5 days. Yeah, 5 business days in writing for them to respond in writing, in regards to the what's wrong with that background check, or
Okay.
if there's something that's not showing up on the background check, in regards to that particular conviction.
sure.
And then give them an additional 5 days to be able to produce any type of other documents, and then so total length is probably ending up with 10 business days.
All
That's
right, so you got 10 days that are kind of shot, and but if you end up passing on that person, now you're probably going to miss out on your number 2 candidate too because of all that time that goes by.
Yes, so it's always good maybe to offer to a couple people.
Make the offer to more than one person.
Yeah.
All right, so which that might be tricky too, right?
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
tricky.
because
That would be tricky because
If they both come
Come
back fine, and then you got like a receptionist, but you got 4 employees for the receptionist job.
Exactly.
I see what the state's doing. They're trying to make everybody employed,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So that's crazy.
Yes.
All right. So the rejection notification is interesting. Then how do you release them? Let's say, for example, somebody didn't pass it. you pass the 10 days, can you release them for at that point, or is there some sort of something that you have to go through?
Again, nothing that says what type of process is. You just
Sure.
every company might be different. If they want to maybe send them another notification saying that
Sure.
we haven't heard from you, so unfortunately we're going to have to pass you up, or we're going to move forward.
I have a thought on how you can probably
Or-
alleviate this problem, like a loophole around this process. Backdoor references. Like
Yeah,
just
true.
contact people that used to work with him and say, hey, what'd you think of this person?
Yeah, that's not.
It happens in the Silicon Valley all the time.
And no, it really. I've dealt with companies that have done that. They just know each other, and
Yeah.
especially medical field too. Physicians do talk to other physicians and say, it's a small little community,
Yeah.
and they know each other, and they will ask, oh, how is this person I'm thinking about hiring, and they'll usually give their off the record.
Yeah. Okay. Just a quick overview too. Is there anything else that comes up that employers need to be aware of? Not that we're going to discuss, but is there any other laws that are kind of in effect?
There's the parental leave with companies with 20 or more employees.
Okay.
So that's it's mimicking the FMLA.
What's FMLA?
The Family Medical Leave Act.
Okay.
So 12 weeks of unpaid leave. It's basically job guarantee to companies with 20.
Or more people.
Well, 20 now, a minimum 20 employees.
Okay.
Yes, because you have the 50 or more, so it's the 20 to 49 employee category.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. And then, and that's pretty much it that anybody has to be aware of.
There are some other ones coming down, but
Just for January, this is what they need to.
yes,
These are the important ones.
those are your three major
Okay.
major ones that are coming.
All right. Have fun, guys. This is going to be a great 2018 for interviewing. It's going to be creative, right?
Yes.
All right, so we're just about out of time for today's show. Karen, thanks again for your time investment today and sharing your wisdom with the Higher Power Radio community. Now, you also you sent me a send out, which actually goes over a bunch of this stuff. If somebody's interested in getting that send out or finding out about KBB, how
KEB?
KEB, my bad. How do they get a hold of you?
Well, they can reach me, Karen Baginoff, at karenb@kebhr.com.
And that's KAREN.
KAREN.
B as in boy.
B as in boy.
All right.
Yes. At KEB, my initials, HR.com.
HR.com. Okay, perfect. Any particular type of clients that you guys
No, we
tend to do well with?
we service all industries.
Okay.
Typically, we focus a lot of restaurants
Okay.
and manufacturing industries.
Okay.
We have a few medical, so we're very, across the board.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, cool. So I want to thank our listening audience for tuning into this week's episode of Higher Power. Quick thanks to our team, our engineer Paul Roberts, who is quite disruptive today, our producers Andrea Ballin, Shanti Ryle, and our executive producer Kim Iverson. To listen to this show and any past episodes, you can check us out on higherpowerradio.com. That's HIRE, powerradio.com, or Higher Power Radio on iTunes. Follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook at the Higher Power Radio Show, or follow me on Twitter at Rick_Girard, Girard. We have another great show lined up for you guys next week. We have Scott Kravitz, CEO of People Driven Solutions. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. I'm your host, Rick Girard, and you have been listening to the Higher Power Radio Show.
Thank you for listening to Higher Power with Rick Girard on OC Talk Radio.